Hello, drummers, and welcome to Mike Trabulsie's Institute for the Artistry of Drumming. I'm Mike Trabulsie, and this is Things You Should Know. Today, I want to talk about why good drumming is not always good music. Let's say, for example, we're practicing 2 hours a day. And for 2 weeks straight, we practice 2 hours every single day. That's 28 hours of practice. Let's round it up to 30. And let's assume out of those 30 hours of practice, we've spent 3/4 of the time on developing the executional elements of technique. And a normal part of that practice might be practicing your rudiments. And let's assume we've been very diligent in practicing our rudiments. And we're working on paradiddles. And we're playing paradiddles every day. 40 minutes a day, we're playing paradiddles. And at the end of 2 weeks, we have what I sometimes refer to as paradiddle brain. It's all we can think of. We're tapping paradiddles in the car. We're tapping paradiddles at home. We're tapping, hearing, thinking, living, breathing paradiddles. And we're on the gig. A recording session at the end of our 2 weeks of very diligent practice. And we're playing a song, and all we can think of is paradiddles. And a section of the song comes along, and we decide to try out a paradiddle. And we rip that paradiddle off, and it's amazing drumming. We start perfectly, it's in time, we end perfectly. Maybe we use some of the toms, maybe we incorporate the crash cymbal, the ride cymbal, the hi-hat. And then we're in the control room listening back. And everybody can agree, it's great drumming. But the question you have to ask yourself, is it good music? Does it work in the context of that song? You may not have been even thinking about playing that paradiddle. Maybe it just came out. I can tell you, after 30 years of very diligent study in the martial arts, that the body has an uncanny ability to memorize muscle movement. In martial arts, sometimes we practice techniques thousands of times so that in a competition or a performance or, God forbid, real life, we have to execute that technique. We want it to happen without thought. The same thing can happen in drumming. And it's normal. You know, speaking for myself, I can tell you that when I was going through my deep development phase as a younger man, I spent a lot of time on technique. And I assume, like many other drummers that do that, as you mature, musically mature, you have to look in the mirror and ask yourself, is this good drumming always good music? And the answer is good drumming isn't always good music. You have to develop your musical maturity, which is the ability to Play what the music calls for, even if it's not what you really want to play, even if it's not the most fun, even if every fiber of your being wants to rip off that paradiddle. And it could be something else, a double bass drum lick, anything. Even if you are the band leader, you have to answer to the boss. and who is the boss? The music is the boss. The music always dictates what should be played. And if you listen with an open mind and a level of musical maturity, you will hear the music speaking to you. I think every drummer on their way to, we'll just say, higher levels of ability, technical, executional ability, have at times played more than what the music calls for. There's a phrase that's been used many times over the years, and it's applicable here: overplaying. We always have to be on the lookout for that as we develop our technical ability. It can happen in a recording situation. It can happen on a live performance. It can happen in a rehearsal. You have to move beyond your ability to get to a point where you are musically mature and have the control to play what the music calls for. And I can assure you, there'll be many times in many musical situations where you can, as a teacher I had once told me, stretch out. You can stretch out and play a little bit more. If you like my perspective on this topic and other topics, please join me at Mike Trabulsie's Institute for the Artistry of Drumming. And remember, drumming without artistry is just drumming.